Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Breakfast with Blaha, and today I'm having steak, rice, broccoli, and Diet Dr. Pepper. I'm sure someone will have something negative to say about my food, and when you do, I'm going to press the ban button, because I don't care. No one cares about your opinion. But let's talk about a gallon of milk a day. I get people who are like, Jason, do you still support GOMAD? Well, that's kind of a loaded question, isn't it? Because did I ever support GOMAD? No. Have I said there are people who could benefit from it? Or there are people who it could be optimal for? Do I have clients who do it? Yes. The problem is with a question like, do you support it means, do you just support it in general? Do you think it's a good idea? I'm going to say for most people it's a terrible idea. See, so I don't support it. Do I think, like anything else, it's an application where it can work well? And I mean, people can argue about the health effects, and look, there's a lot of saturated fat in there. Before someone chimes in and says, there's no problem with saturated fat, you're an idiot who doesn't read the research. I'm not interested in your stupid cult ideas. Drop it. There is a problem with saturated fat. However, it is contextual. It's contextual. Body can handle a certain amount of a lot of these things with zero health consequences. And that's what people need to understand. Because something in excess can create problems doesn't make it inherently bad. So people go to the other extreme. They're like, oh, saturated fats at any amount will just clog your arteries. Well, that's equally stupid. Okay? If you believe that, you are in the same category of people who think in unlimited amounts is perfectly fine. You're both equally ignorant. You both should not express your opinions on nutrition because these are both insane stances. Okay, these are both insane stances. I don't just mean they're bad info. They are insane, like bad mental health level, part of a weird diet cult. Now that we got that out of the way, it's context. Now, I think in the right environment, it's fine. I mean, we could almost argue that some people who've done it may not even fit the ideal demographic. They've suffered no health effects yet and may not ever. You know, I mean, the Boogs did it. Now people say, what do you mean the Boogs? Well, not a spring chicken. You know, he's not 25. A clearly heavily enhanced lifter. And I'm sorry if you need someone to tell you that. Again, we come back over to being stupid. Like, you can't have an IQ higher than 85 and think that, you know, a TRT dose is going to put someone at that size. Biologically impossible. That's not a knock or an insult or calling anyone out. Basic laws of biology and muscle growth. It is not biologically obtainable. Period. And anyone who wants to argue that it is, we come back over to they're an idiot. And we don't have time for that. We're here to learn. We're not here to argue with idiots. I don't have time for it. We could argue, I don't know if that's the best demographic. Maybe he could suffer some health issues. Maybe. Maybe not. He stayed pretty lean doing it. That's a big part of it. Because guys like Bill Pearl used to do that. And Bill Pearl might have been a gallon of milk a day guy. Hell, he's still alive at 91. I saw some pictures of him a while back in his 70s and 80s. The guy was ridiculous. Right? Guy's more jacked than 99% of 20-year-olds at the gym. Dude was jacked still. Shocking. The guy's in his 90s. He's like 91. And he's still alive. He was using gear back in the day. He was in that whole drink a gallon of milk to get big generation, and he used to write about dairy all the time. He may have done the GOMAD thing. I need to go look it up. So again, context. How active is your lifestyle? We come back over to body fat gain, insulin resistance, all these things. Are you a hard training athlete who is not at a high body fat? Is it seem to be affecting your blood work badly? Well, if not, then it's fine. Milk is phenomenally anabolic. It is a phenomenal sports drink, arguably a better hydration drink than anything sold over the counter. Facilitates muscle growth, all these things. The issue is the fat content's a little high. Some people have problems with the lactose. But the whole point is that a gallon of whole milk has 2,800 calories in it and something like 130 grams of high-grade protein, way beyond your RDA for all your electrolytes, really. Every single electrolyte you need. Calcium is in there, magnesium, potassium, all these things in high amounts. Okay, phenomenal. And if you have a lifter who cannot eat enough, so a skinny hard gainer who can handle milk well, whose calorie needs exceed like 3,500 plus, who cannot seem to physically eat that much, steak and rice, like I'm doing. Well, in that context, it makes sense if they need to gain weight. If they need to gain weight. We're not talking about for people who are going to get fat, sloppy fat doing it. Because if you take yourself up to a really high body fat bulking, I don't care what you eat to get there. You're going to be unhealthy. You're going to be unhealthy. Some foods are going to make it worse than others, but the physical act of taking your body fat way too high is unhealthy. Again, food choices matter, but the elephant in the living room, pardon the pun, is the body fat. But what happens when we have a skinny, athletic young man who is training hard? Usually these guys who have to drink this usually have active lifestyles. What I find are my kids who go to college, they ride their bike to class every day. They're very active and they're training hard in the gym. They need it to gain body weight. It's a useful tool. It's either that or peanut butter. Those are usually their options. Although I've found some of my guys really seem to like guacamole rice. White rice mixed together with fattier cuts of beef. That works too. But we're kind of falling right back into the same thing as GOMAD. It's kind of similar, isn't it? Like that combination works. I have kids who do exactly that. They drink whole milk and they do beef, white rice, guacamole, stuff like that. Because they mix it up, make burritos with it, whatever. Right? It's easy. They don't need cooking skills. They can cook that stuff up easy and have it in the fridge and ready to go in amounts that they already know ready to knock down. They can do the same thing with milk. The gallons of milk can be done in smaller compartments to where you can compartmentalize the amounts. You can meal prep with it because you don't have to do the gallon. You can do half gallons. You can do quarter gallons. And then know how many calories is in each one. Okay, it's a viable option. But the context being, do you actually need the calories? Right? Are you struggling to get the calories in because you are someone who actively needs to gain weight with a very high degree of physical activity, so therefore you're going to offset a lot of the concern to say the saturated fat and that you're reasonably young. Okay? Young, healthy, fit. In that context, it's perfectly fine. But is it something that I would support? Just people who lift should just drink a gallon of milk? Well, no, that's stupid. And it may be a bad idea for your health. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.